ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Jai Gurudev. So we'll read through this one more time. Let's continue. Why should I perform karma? So we are on that verse, which is Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Samyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Munehe. So knowledge removes the notion of the doer. And why should I perform karma? The question may then be asked, why did the Shruti not say this in the beginning? If it had done so, I need not have done all this karma. I did the morning and evening prayers because the Veda said to do them, and I had faith in the Veda. Now, I find that these karmas have become a colossal waste because at the end of it all, the Veda tells me that I am Brahman and that karma is of no use. If karma will not give me moksha, Why did it not say so in the beginning? The reason the Veda does not tell you right in the beginning that you are Brahman is because you have to be ready for this knowledge. By performing karma, you are able to eventually get to the last chapter of the Veda and understand what it says. By not performing karma, you will be neither a jnani nor a devout person. You will only be driftwood with no moorings whatsoever. The rule is that those who are not ready for the knowledge should not be disturbed with it. We will see this later in the Gita. Instead, people are encouraged to perform karma in order to prepare their minds for the knowledge. They are told about Swarga, heaven, in the beginning, so that they will perform the enjoined rituals for gaining Swarga. In this way, they will definitely avoid Papa and Punya will follow. The person who performs karma will have a value for dharma and adharma, right and wrong, and will come to believe that there is an Atma, a self other than the body. That much is enough in the beginning. Once you respect dharma adharma, the ability to discriminate between the real and the unreal will not be far behind. To respect dharma adharma is not to be swayed by your raga dveshas. Therefore, the pressure of raga dveshas will be less. This is what is meant by viveka. Viveka begins as soon as you start to question what is what. First, there is an internal leisure, and then viveka naturally comes. Once viveka is there, you will naturally turn to Vedanta. Only in this way can you proceed properly. Therefore, as long as self ignorance is there, one should perform karma, whereas once there is self knowledge, there is renunciation of karma, sarva karma sannyasa. Shankara repeats this argument throughout his commentary on the Gita. This is because there was a notion prevalent in his day that the Veda enjoins one to do karma and at the same time to gain the knowledge that I am Brahman. This position maintains that both will give you moksha and is refuted by Shankara at every opportunity. So the Purva Pakshi maintains that even through karma you can get moksha, whereas it is only through jnana that moksha ultimately happens. Or if either karma or jnana is adequate for moksha, why should anyone do the other? If moksha is something that I produce, why do I need jnana? And if karma is not going to produce moksha, there is no reason to do karma. If I am Brahman and I merely need to know it, which is Shankara's contention, then jnana is moksha and I do not need to do anything. Thus, the question, why should one do karma? The answer is that one performs karma in order to purify the mind for chitta shuddhi. Chitta means mind. We have seen the word shuddhi with reference to raga dveshas. Reality is already accomplished. It is not something to be created. Reality is. Whatever the reality, that is what is. It is a thing to be recognized. Therefore, even if you do millions of karmas, you do not create the reality that exists. Because of the prevalence in Shankara's time of the synthesis argument of combining karma and jnana, he goes all out to clarify the difference between karma and jnana. There are certain topics that every teacher has to highlight, given the views of his or her time. In Shankara's time, the Jnana Karma Samuchaya Vada, The contention that moksha is not gained by knowledge alone, but by a combination of knowledge and action was widespread. Therefore, he found it necessary to refute it by continually pointing out the fallacies in it. This is the job of a teacher. Here also, Shankara points out that karma applied only until knowledge comes. For one who does not have knowledge, the karma enjoined by the Veda is a valid pramana, whereas for the wise person, it is not. Once the jnana is there, the person is a simple sannyasi, one who is not a doer, and therefore one for whom no karma is enjoined by any shastra. So in Shankara's time, there was this vada called Jnana Karma Samuchaya Vada. That is, it is moksha is got by a combination of karma and jnana. Whereas it is only through jnana that one ultimately gets moksha, because jnana, reality is, Atman is, Brahman is. You don't have to create Brahman. You only have to remove that ignorance which is shielding your recognition of Brahman. Yeah, karma is required to prepare the mind for knowledge or the chitta shuddhi. So Shankara points out that karma applied only until knowledge comes. And for one who has knowledge, then there is no doer. I mean, he becomes a sarva karma sannyasi. Jnanena sarva karma sannyasi.
Brahmaraji, can you tell the definition of Sarva Karma Sannyasi? We have seen it somewhere, but I am not remembering it. Sarva Karma Sannyasi.
Yeah, sarva karma sannyasi is, it does not mean he's not doing anything. He's doing it, but he's doing it with a sense of non-doership. Like in the fifth chapter, we learn uh, Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, Jigran,
Hmm.
Ashnan, Gachan. So all that is happening. He's
All
doing,
senses are working on its own. That means that
yeah.
energy, huh? But he is not doing that.
He doesn't have that doership.
Hmm.
And why? Why does he not have doership? Because he has self-knowledge. So the sense organs are just functioning on their own. The mind, intellect, ego is functioning on its own. He is only, he's he's being a witness to that.
Similarly, with the karmas also, whatever actions on the means in Jagat happening, so he is
Correct.
only.
Because he's in that oneness. He's in that state of oneness where there are no two. Again, it is difficult for us to understand that state because, like Krishna pointed out earlier, only the wise can understand the wise. We can only have a concept, but we don't you truly understand what that state is. A wise person cannot be emulated based on action. Since a wise person does not do karma, you cannot emulate him or her. You cannot say that because he or she does not do karma, you will not do karma. The wise person does not perform karma because the need to do so is no longer there. Because you still need to perform karma, you cannot imitate a wise person in this respect. Krishna did not say that the wise person is one who does not do any karma. To say that this person has no duty whatsoever could be interpreted by a mumukshu in such a way that he or she would not live a life of karma yoga and instead would become nothing more than a lazy person. This is why Krishna pointed out here that for a wise person, night is what is day for everyone else, meaning that no karma is enjoined. What is a means of knowledge pramana for you is not a pramana for the wise person. In fact, what Krishna was saying here is that for the wise, there is no pramana at all. Even the usefulness of the last pramana, Vedanta, is over for them. Vedanta says that you are Brahman. Until you know this, Vedanta is a pramana, and afterwards it too becomes mithya. With knowledge, there is no means of knowledge, known, or knower. The differences between these three things having been swallowed. The pramana, the means of knowledge, is gone. It is Brahman, as are the pramata, the knower, and the prameya, the object to be known. The very knower is cancelled by the knowledge that says that you are not a knower. I will read this paragraph again. So, a wise person cannot be emulated based on action. Since a wise person does not do karma, you cannot emulate him or her. You cannot say that because he or she does not do karma, you will not do karma. Because in the previous para it was said that a wise person is a simple sannyasi. Once the jnana is there, the person is a simple sannyasi, one who is not a doer, and therefore for one for whom no karma is enjoined by any shastra. So here we understand when he does not do karma, both shastra vihita karma and laukika karma. So we cannot emulate a wise person because he does not need to do karma. So you cannot say an ignorant person or a sadhak cannot say because the wise person is not doing any karma, even I will not do it. We cannot emulate him. You'll only end up being a lazy person. The wise person does not perform karma because the need to do so is no longer there. Because you still need to perform karma, you cannot imitate a wise person in this respect. Krishna did not say that the wise person is one who does not do any karma. To say that this person has no duty whatsoever could be interpreted by a mumukshu in such a way that he or she would not live a life of karma yoga and instead would become nothing more than a lazy person. This is why Krishna pointed out here that for a wise person, night is what is day for everyone else, meaning that no karma is enjoined. What is a means of knowledge pramana for you is not a pramana for the wise person. In fact, what Krishna was saying here is that for the wise, there is no pramana at all. Even the usefulness of the last pramana, Vedanta, is over for them. Vedanta says that you are Brahman. Until you know this, Vedanta is a pramana, and afterwards it too becomes mithya. It's like the knowledge is like soap, and once you wash it off, there is no need for the soap once it's cleansed. So once knowledge is gone, even Vedanta becomes mithya. With knowledge, there is no means of knowledge. There is no means of knowledge, known or knower. The differences between these three things, these three having been swallowed, they all become one, right? The pramana, the means of knowledge, is gone. It is Brahman, as are the pramata, the knower, and the prameya, the object to be known. The very knower is cancelled by the knowledge that says that that says you are not a knower. We'll read further for us to understand better because the last sentence here is a bit um, tricky. The very knower is cancelled by the knowledge that says you are not a knower. Resolution of the knower
Because he
knowledge.
becomes known, he becomes the knowledge itself. He is not a knower, he is infinite.
Yeah, for
Uh,
you to be a knower, you need to have another.
Another,
Now
yes,
here there is no other. So
uh,
that merges. The knower,
yes.
known,
Hmm.
the object to be known, all that merges into one. Resolution of the knower known knowledge. Shankara says that the final pramana, the statement Tattvam Asi, itself goes away having dismissed the pramana. An example generally given to illustrate how the knowledge works is the method of using a thorn to remove the thorn that is lodged in one's foot. Once the thorn is removed, we discard both the thorns. There is also a more interesting example used. When a body is cremated, a huge funeral pyre is made out of wood. If the person who died was rich, the pyre will be made of sandalwood. But this is the only difference. When the pyre is ready, the body is placed on it, covered with husks and small pieces of wood, and then the fire is lit. Once the body has caught fire, the people who came for the ritual all go away. But the ritual itself is still incomplete and continues the next day when the person performing the ritual comes to pick up the ashes and bones. This person is either the departed one's eldest son or a cousin, someone who is closely related. When this person comes to pick up the ashes, there should be no portion of the body left unburned. It must be burnt thoroughly. There should be nothing remaining but the ashes and bones. Until this happens, the ritual is incomplete. The person in charge of the cremation ground is the one who must ensure that the body is completely burnt. Because the body is not to be touched and being in the fire cannot be handled. A stick is used for this purpose. Once the person is sure that the body is completely burnt, he throws the stick into the funeral fire. Having done its job, the stick also gets burnt. Similarly, the statement, you are that, Tattvam Asi, is a pramana. The pramata, the knower, you, the jiva, is told, you are Brahman. If you are Brahman, there is no knower. after this knowledge takes place, the pramata is just and as though pramata. There is no real pramata anymore. When the knower is told, you are not a knower, you are Brahman, the knower is sublated. And when the knower is not there, where is the pramana? It too goes. All three, the knower, known, and the means of knowledge, are understood to be Brahman. All duality goes in the wake of this knowledge, including the knower, the known, and the knowledge itself. The known, the prameya, is gone because there is nothing to know. Once knowledge takes place, all three, pramata, prameya, and pramana, become meaningless. Therefore, all the knower known knowledge activities resolve in the wake of the knowledge that I am Brahman. This is what Krishna meant when he said that what is day for everyone else is night for the wise person. This was alone conveyed by Shankara in his commentary. All translations, therefore, should be read with this meaning in mind. So, the examples given here for the resolution of the knower known knowledge, one is how we remove a thorn with a thorn. And once that the thorn is removed, you discard both the thorns. Another example is that a person who is put on the funeral fire, whether he is rich or poor, young or old, the body is converted to ashes, ashes and bones. But in order to stoke this, there is a stick that is used. Ultimately, even that stick is put into the fire and that also burns. Similarly, when using the means of knowledge, pramana, that is Vedanta, that Tattvam Asi, once that realization of Aham Brahmasmi happens, then even the pramana, that is Vedanta, becomes, there is no existence for that. It becomes Nitya. So the knower, the known, and the means of knowledge, all of them merge into that Advaita, into that oneness. Because if you are Brahman, there is no knower. How can you have a knower if Brahman is limitless, is Satchit Ananda, and is omnipresent and omnipotent? You cannot have a knower of Brahman. That means then Brahman is not omnipotent, omniscient, because there is a knower apart from Brahman. So the very fact that Brahman is omniscient, omnipresent, and once the self-knowledge dawns, then that knower dissolves. So the pramata, prameya, and pramana, all of them dissolve. all duality goes in the wake of this knowledge, including the knower, known, and the knowledge itself. The known, the prameya is gone because there is nothing to know. Once knowledge takes place, all three, pramata, prameya, and pramanam, become meaningless. Therefore, all the knower, known, knowledge activities resolve in the wake of the knowledge that I am Brahman. This is what Krishna meant when he said that what is day for everyone else is night for the wise person. So, what is day for everyone? Samsara is day for everyone. They see divisions, me and the other. So that is day for the unwise person, for a normal person. Whereas the wise person does not see any difference. It is night for him because it does not exist for him. That, like for instance, what is day for the wise person? What is day for the wise person is that he's reveling in that Atma Tattva. There is only one. That is the only truth. And he's merged that knower, knowledge, known, all that is merged into one. That is the night, that is the day for the jnani. Whereas for the ajnani, that is night. He's not open to that knowledge of Brahman at all. Whereas vice versa is true. What is day for the normal person, for everyone, is night for the jnani.
Means that night is very, means knowing everything, it is a night for him because he doesn't give that weightage to that things. But he is doing that. Means sarva karma sannyasi like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is like there are so many things in the these things around us, but if we have something in our mind in alignment with that, whatever objects are there around, automatically our focus goes there, and rest of the things in the
Ragadvesha.
room.
With Ragadvesha, we will get attached there.
So other things are like a night. We cannot that even if something is lying there around, we cannot notice it. It's completely dark for us, kind of. So much we are carried away with something, and we can see everything around connected to that. Suppose like we bought some car, and then the same company, suddenly we saw so many of that company car, Honda, everywhere in every road. They were always there, but our focus was never there for that particular car. So like that, it is day and night, I think so. You are so much one with the infinity, and then the samsara is actually swapnavat. They are acting in the samsara spontaneously, moment to moment. It is happening through all the four faculties and the body, mind complex, and everything. Am I right, Brahmraji?
That's right. And they're also, see, we go through, because we are in samsara, we go through all the distortions of love, all the negative emotions we go through. But they are as though asleep to it. That is night for them. It doesn't exist.
Correct.
We go through all the opposites. For them, that all that they are beyond the three gunas. They're in that state of oneness where They're beyond raga dveshas, beyond the dvaita, beyond opposites. Basically, they are, there is no misidentity for them. The main difference between them and everybody else, the wise and otherwise, is the identification, the wrong identification. They are now identified, they've recognized the self, and that's it, full stop, no more. Nothing else exists. Whereas we are, everybody else is still identified with all this limited matter equipment. We still see differences, we still see distinction, we still are reeling in raga dvesha. We still see ourselves as insecure and continue to seek security from the world in order to be happy. Whereas they are like the ocean, complete, full,
Yeah,
purnaha.
this is very vital point, Bhamraji. The security insecurity thing now, in the very deep this thing, that insecurity feeling is there still. That is why we do so many things in the world. That's what I. This is a very means pin pricking point. We really need to work towards that also with awareness.
That is why,
Insecurity is the word.
yeah, that is why here it is mentioned you cannot emulate the actions of a wise person. We cannot say, oh, because he's not doing anything. Like Ramana Maharshi, for instance. Okay, Gurudev is doing a lot of things. Leave Gurudev aside. Look at Ramana Maharshi. We cannot say, oh, he was not doing anything, so even I will also not do anything. Then you'll only end up being a lazy person. Still, with all that bundle of raga dveshas and all that kashaya inside, the avarana is still there. Therefore, you cannot directly emulate a wise person's actions. They are from a completely different space altogether. They are in that sarvakarma sannyasa mode. Whereas everybody else has to continue to do karma till such time there is enough antakarna shuddhi, there is that chitta shuddhi happens. And then it is only through knowledge that, and then when knowledge dawns, then there is no difference between one jnani and the other jnani, absolutely no difference. They are just the one. Emulate the values of a wise person. Any description of a person of steady wisdom, sthita prajna, is useless, really speaking. We can only talk about the wisdom, prajna, that makes a wise person, that makes a person wise. Unless you have this wisdom yourself, you cannot understand what a wise person is. A Mahatma knows a Mahatma, whereas one who is not a Mahatma cannot appreciate a Mahatma. Therefore, any description other than an unfoldment of the wisdom that makes such a person wise is really meaningless. But still, Arjuna wanted a description. He also wanted to know how a wise person reacts to the world. In his response, Krishna told Arjuna certain things, including the fact that one cannot emulate a wise person except in so far as values are concerned. The wise person may not perform Vedic rituals. For such a person, These karmas are no longer necessary because the previous performance of the scriptural injunctions has found its fulfillment in wisdom. Whether the person has taken sannyasa or not, he or she is a sarva karma sannyasi. The doership is already negated in the person. There is no real doer. And when there is no real doer, there is no real karma. In this way, the wise person is not bound by duty of any kind. To emulate a wise person, therefore, is dangerous. Krishna mentioned the mind, values, control, and mastery of a wise person because these alone are to be emulated. In this way, Krishna confirmed for Arjuna that the characteristics of a wise person, as demonstrated in his or her interactions in day to day life, can become the means, the sadhana for a seeker. Finally, Krishna said that a wise person is as different from an ajnani as day is from night, meaning that there is no way of unfolding what a wise person is. What is night for all the people is day for the wise, and what is day for them is night for the wise. Arjuna was bound to be flabbergasted by this. He was definitely not going to be any wiser for having heard this particular verse. Therefore, out of sympathy and compassion, Krishna followed his night and day example with another example, an illustration that Arjuna could hold on to, and one that would enable him to appreciate, in a way, what a wise person is. So, we don't emulate the actions of a wise person, but the mind, values, control, and mastery of a wise person. These are alone to be emulated.
Again, read that sentence. What three things?
See, to emulate a wise person, therefore, let me read this one again, one more time. Emulate the values of a wise person. Here, initially it was said, do not emulate the actions of a wise person, right? Which is that. See, a wise person cannot be emulated based on action because he may not be a sannyasi. He might continue to do what he's doing. Like there are so many grahasthas who became jnanis. Similarly, there may be sannyasis. So you cannot emulate them based on their action. Emulate them based on their values. So any description of a person of steady wisdom, sthita prajna, is useless, really speaking. We can only talk about the wisdom, prajna, that makes a person wise. Unless you have this wisdom yourself, you cannot understand what a wise person is. It's like that light meeting darkness. So you cannot understand what a wise person is unless you yourself are wise. So, unless you have this wisdom yourself, you cannot understand what a wise person is. A Mahatma knows a Mahatma, whereas one who is not a Mahatma cannot appreciate a Mahatma. Therefore, any description other than an unfoldment of the wisdom that makes such a person wise is really meaningless. But still, Arjuna wanted a description. He also wanted to know how a wise person reacts to the world. In his response, Krishna told Arjuna certain things, including the fact that one cannot emulate a wise person except in so far as values are concerned. The wise person may not perform Vedic rituals. For such a person, these karmas are no longer necessary because the previous performance of the scriptural injunctions has found its fulfillment in wisdom. Whether the person has taken sannyasa or not, he or she is a sarva karma sannyasi. The doership, so he might still be a grahastha for all we know, but is a sarva karma sannyasi. The doership is already negated in the person. There is no real doer. And when there is no real doer, there is no real karma. In this way, the wise person is not bound by duty of any kind. To emulate a wise person, therefore, is dangerous. Krishna mentioned the mind, values, control, and mastery of a wise person because these alone are to be emulated. In this way, Krishna confirmed for Arjuna that the characteristics of a wise person, as demonstrated in his or her interactions in day to day life, can become the means, the sadhana for a seeker. Finally, Krishna said that a wise person is as different from an ajnani as day is from night, meaning that there is no way of unfolding what a wise person is. What is night for all the people is day for the wise, and what is day for them is night to the wise. Arjuna was bound to be flabbergasted by this. He was definitely not going to be any wiser for having heard this particular verse. Therefore, out of sympathy and compassion, Krishna found his night and day example with another example, an illustration that Arjuna could hold on to, and one that would enable him to appreciate, in a way, what a wise person is. So, the next verse is what Krishna is giving Arjuna out of compassion because he may still be confused about what is this day night business and how only a wise person understands a wise person and how you cannot emulate the actions, but you can only emulate the values, the mastery, the mind control of a wise person. आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी. I will just read the meaning. Just as water flows into the ocean that is brimful and still, so too the wise person into whom all objects enter gains peace, remains unchanged, whereas the desirer of objects does not gain peace. I think we will stop here. I just want to go back to the different verses that describe the Sthita Prajna.
Hari Om. One thing I wanted to share, like I was listening about the Satvik Ahankar yesterday. So it was like a very beautiful description, like how we come to arrive at that question, who am I? Like the mind, the man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. So these are the aware. These are the platforms for the awareness of our consciousness. Like they are the that instruments with which we get that awareness, and with that awareness we perform all our all the actions done by our body, and we live our life. So that man, it is the platform of all the desires, that raga dvesha, and the buddhi, it is that intellect with which uh, we decipher like what is good and what is bad, and how we that discrimination power we have. And then the chit is where we have all the memories instilled of the past lives, all the impressions, and of this life also. So how and then that last is that ego, which is the most powerful of all of these, is the ego, which is with which we associate ourselves with, like like that ego. It says that you are we relate everything to that I. That I is not that ego which we speak of negatively. It is that I which gives you your identification. So when we are working on this man, buddhi, and chit, then living our lives in such a way as was mentioned in this verse, like we follow the values, we have the control, and we have the mastery, and in this way we will we will be controlling our basically that man, buddhi, and chit. Chit we cannot, because we have those impressions. But what we can do is we can do the mastery with the help of our intellect and that controlling power. So the strongest is that I, and then that question arises when you have a sthita prajna who has control over all these man, buddhi, and chit. He is then having that remaining is that ego, that is the sattvic ego, and then that question arises, who am I? And like he disassociate himself from all the other complex, the mind body complex, leaving a part only which is remaining is the I, the ego. So this question, because always whenever I used to hear that, who am I? As you have said, Dr. Pramara, that repeatedly speaking, who am I, will not lead you to anywhere. So there is such a deep meaning to it. Who am I? Only when it holds that weightage, only when we have crossed the man, buddhi, and chit.
When we cross the I.
Yeah, that the remaining would be that ahankar, that ego, which will give you that real meaning of I. Who am I? So yesterday, as I was listening, so I just related to this verse, and it gave me the exact meaning, that who am I, from where it is arising, that statement, who am I? Yeah, I just wanted to share this.
Pramaraji, that aham becomes vayam means all or together everything.
And this I is so vulnerable, like whenever like it gets inflated so much that whenever it gets some some like it gets that वो इतनी जल्दी मैला हो जाता है कि whenever something is you are doing some positive, it is get tarnished very easily. That ego, that negative aspect attached to it very easily. This is like it's a very vulnerable eye. Until unless you haven't reached that point, when you are the Brahman. Till that this I, that is why they say that the ahankar, the I, is the last to go. So it is you get caught up in that it is it is so because of the Maya, you get so easily affected. Even the like the saints, the gurus, that is the last what you would say, that is the last, मतलब आखिरी पर्दा है वो. Then that if you cross that, then you are a Brahman. So ahankar is in a way very, it has that what you say, it is that it has a vidwan's quality as well. It has a srijan part also. It has both parts. So it is with that awareness that sajagta and awareness is so necessary. But it is, speaking is so easy, but the practical is so it may take so many lifetimes, like.
I think that's where Swadhyaya comes. Because I read about Swadhyaya, I don't know from where. This is what is my understanding of Swadhyaya is. Once you have done the Shravana, Manana, all that, Nididhyasana you adopt according to your capacity. And then that is where you do the Swadhyaya. You look at when you're implementing that knowledge with awareness or automatically, somewhere you observe your concepts in action. And then you refine. So that is what I understood as Swadhyaya from that talk. I don't know where I heard it or where I read it. So this is my understanding of Swadhyaya, is the refinement of your concepts. And that is when you move towards mastery over your mind, your shamadama, all that.
Thank you all for sharing. Actually wanted to go back to Arjuna's question of who is Sthita Prajna is, because
one more thing, Dr. Brahmana, just a small thing, that you mentioned 3 things when you read in the last verse. That is mind, what we have to look at, the Sthita Prajna's mind, values, and
control, mastery.
Mastery of his mind.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mention the mind, values, control, and mastery of a wise person, because these alone are to be emulated. That is the what is that? Siddhasya lakshanani sadhakasya sadhana. So the lakshanas, the values of a wise person. not his actions. So I know we've crossed the time. Maybe we'll do this tomorrow. We can read Arjuna's question, Sita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha, and what Krishna's reply, Bhagwan's reply to that was. He initially enumerated the mind of a Sthita Prajna. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarva. So all of that. I think we'll do that tomorrow. We'll stop here today. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Accept those parts of the body where you feel a tension. The other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here. Lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the efforts. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.